just so you guys can see some of the fun stuff that we ordered. So let me cut into this box quick because I haven't even opened it. Sometimes they send like really fun samples and stuff. Sorry, it's really loud. I apologize for that. It's crazy loud. Grab something here. Give me 1 second here. I forgot to black out my mailing address on the box. So I'm just really quickly blacking that out before I put the box up on the table. So if I don't do that, my husband will yell at me, and I like to keep the peace in my house and prevent being yelled at by the amazing person that is my biggest helper when it comes to my stream. So we're gonna open this bad boy from Dick Blick. Blick Art Materials. This is it's actually a really big box, and I'm really surprised they sent such a big box for what I ordered. I'm gonna try and angle this a little bit because it's gonna be more in my lap here. So I'm really surprised how big of a box they sent for what all I did order. So I'm kind of hoping that they sent some freebies in it. So we'll see. Tons of plastic. No, they just sent a bunch of plastic. That's what we've got here. Lots of those little green pillows of air. I want to put them right here in the trash bag, but my dog is blocking me. Hi, can I get to the trash can, please? Thank you. And we have paper. Pull that out. You don't need to see how much I spent. So, first off, this is one of the things I love. When they send, when you buy product, they saran wrap some of the products for you so that way it doesn't leak everywhere. So we'll unwrap that. And then they sent us a box. They actually sent me, let me get this out of the way. My dog thinks it's for her because we order Bark Box. So when we get Bark Box in, she thinks they're for her. So she thinks every box that I open at my desk is actually meant for her. Silly puppy. So let me set this here. I'll have to clean that up when we're done because there's little air pillows everywhere. And my poor camera is now everywhere. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. There we go. That's, oh, I keep hitting it. There we go. So they saran wrap the containers. So like the gesso and stuff that I buy comes saran wrapped like this, so I can ensure that it doesn't leak everywhere, which is really nice. And I'm very thankful for them. My gesso I buy in a gallon container. This is my titanium white. So normally I buy it, if you've seen me using my titanium white, I've been using this little 200 mils, and I decided I was going to take the plunge, and I bought 500 mils or 16 fluid ounces of titanium white because I do go through so much of it. This is probably the main staple in my artwork. So, and then we've got this little box here of goodies. This is phthalo green, which I don't have yet, so I knew I needed to get some. And then this is sap green. I don't think I have sap green either. If I do have them, we're going to refill those too while we're on stream today. I think I have sap green. I don't think I have phthalo green. Again, my dog thinks that every box I have in my hand is meant for her. So this is actually just what I ordered. So sometimes they run like specials and stuff, so you can, like, I got these at a special price because like they're doing specials right now. When I ordered my spray paint, which I'm hoping to be able to do a live stream of spray painting, I just have to figure out how that's gonna work because I'll have to do it outside due to airflow and everything. But when I ordered like my spray paint and stuff, they actually sent me like the shirt that I'm wearing today, my sugar acrylic professional, say artist acrylic aerosol paint. That's my go-to for spray paint for artwork and stuff. So just they do support their artists very well, and they do take care of us very nicely, and shipping was really really cheap. So but yes, this is my order from Dick Blick that showed up yesterday. So we've got plenty of titanium white to keep rocking forwards. We'll set that little guy right there. And then we've got our sap green and phthalo green. Today we're going to start off by putting waves on the painting that we had started a couple days ago. Yesterday I was out because of of oral surgery. So because of that, I am, like I said, I'm talking really slow, but we missed our stream yesterday putting the waves on this painting. So we're going to go back to our lighthouse painting and we're going to add waves to it to just kind of give the impression of fluidity and movement. And then we'll either do more canvas painting, or I did grab my stuff to do some charcoal because charcoal is my absolute favorite. And I'm a non-conformist with my charcoal, so we'll see what we get into afterwards. I actually preserved my palette from 2 days ago, so this is the painting that I was working on. Actually, that's giving a glare. We'll get that out of there. This is the painting we were working on. I'm sorry, that's really bright right here, where the light's coming down. Let me diffuse that. Give me 1 second. That's better. That's better yet. There we go. We'll just diffuse that light a little bit. There we go. Much better. So, we have this painting that we've been working on. We were working on it a couple days ago. And I want to put some waves down here. And I actually preserved my palette. So what I did is I took a second styrofoam plate, and I had sprayed water on the inside to keep my palette wet. And I actually have to reapply the water every day that I'm not using it. And then I put this other plate on top of it. And then I put a weight on there so it would sit flush against it. So it actually spent the past 2 days. This is my spray bottle with my water in it, to remind me to spray the palette just like that. It's been sitting like that for 2 days. I'd open it, spray it, and keep moving. So we're going to use the palette that we've already built. So I've already got all my colors already on it, and we're going to build off of this. So to remind you of the colors that we've already got in here, we've got sand, raw sienna, burnt and raw umber, our deep turquoise, cobalt blue, phthalo blue, dioxazine purple, and rose madder. And then we've got our Payne's gray and our titanium white on here. So we're going to be using a little bit of all of these to create the waves that we're looking for today. While I'm doing this, I'm hoping I can convince my husband to jump on my stream and make sure my audio is good. Just to make sure, because like I said, I'm not projecting my voice like I normally do, but I am kind of right up on my microphone today. You can almost kind of see it in the camera. There we go. So we're going to use our colors that we have here to create the waves that are going to be crashing in around here. We're also going to be using our raw umber to darken in around here, and a little bit of that the Payne's gray to come in and darken around the island as well. So we're just going to give that impression that there is actual water crashing into the island here. I'm a little low. Yeah, I was wondering. I thought I'd be a little low. How is that? That's as high as I can get the settings. But I'm very, very quiet, so I might be able... what would I adjust? If I may mix phones. How is that? Is that better? Is that worse? I don't know. I'm really hoping it's okay. Good. Good. Apparently all is well. So we can keep moving forward. So I'm going to be using my fan brushes today. I've got two that we're going to be using. Here we go. So I'm using a number 6 fan brush and a number, this is a 7? No, this is a 20. So number 6 and a 20 fan brush. So nice and tiny. This is going to give us the ability for those nice close waves that are near the edge here to be a little bit bigger if we want them to. And we're going to have some nice smaller waves coming in from the back side. So we're going to be playing with those, and I'll also be using this one, smaller one, to add some white highlights to those waves that are crashing up into the air. So we're going to start off, I'm going to take a little bit of my cobalt blue that's over here, and just a little bit, because it doesn't take much to mix in with the white. I'm going to take a little bit of this white, and I'm actually going to take just a hair of the turquoise in with this. Just a little. And we're just going to blend this in. And a little bit more white. There we go. So the idea, that's still too dark. Trying to mix this without pulling any of the other colors off of the center of the palette that I've used to wipe brushes off in. I think I need to plan ahead a little bit better and grab bigger plates. So I'm actually going to clear off some of this off on the edge here, because that's what I like to use the edges of the plates for. That lightens the amount that's on the brush. There we go. And the idea is that I'm coming and sweeping out. I might actually have to switch to a smaller brush pretty quickly. But like here, I'm gonna come out. And we're gonna just make some little lines. You can see the waves starting to form here. And then this one right here, I want to make a nice big wave, so we're going to again come down. Oh, hold on. Fix my brush. A little bit more paint on the edges here. I'm going to go from the corner. I'm going to actually, so like these brushes here are kind of pushing out. I actually am going to apply pressure so that they come together before I bring my downward stroke in. So I'm going to bring them together. I'm just going through and I'm adding some clarity onto these. A little bit of waves. And then I'm going to come to this underside, this backside here, and I'm just making some splash up. I don't want a whole lot, just a little bit. If I put too much on, it's not going to look as natural. I mean, I do kind of want a little bit of a natural splash from the waves that are coming up from the underside. So we've got the beginnings here. I'm going to switch brushes. We're going to drop that. I just realized there's no water in my rinse cup, so we're going to just take a little bit here. You don't need a lot because we're only working with the fan brushes right now. Again, I'm going to take my smaller brush and take a little bit of that white. I'm going to mix it in with this blue that's sitting over here. We're just lightening it up a little bit more than what it already was. There we go. Like I said, I am really sorry if I'm really quiet. Trying to keep my mouth from moving too much. Smiling even hurts. So I'm trying to just be as calm as possible, which is not easy. So on the upper portions of this, I want to put some nice lines, and I want to kind of dap in a little bit of this lighter. And I don't want a whole lot, just a little bit. I can do just tapping if I wanted to. And then I can tap this way. Get a little bit of those highlights. And do the same right up here. And then I've got these little ones over here on the side that I'm just going to go through and just tap a little bit. Very lightly. To add to some of that spray that's coming up over the edge. There we go. And then if I wanted to, I could come in, let me clean this off. I can come in with some of this blue and turquoise, so just a little bit of each. Should I darken it just a hair? So I'm using the phthalo blue to darken this. There we go. We can use this for shading. So I can come in and just dab a little bit on the underside of these waves. So I can come in, I'll actually come this angle. I'm working with the natural curvature of the brush, the way the fan likes to move. It's just a couple of little dabs, nothing major. There we go. And I'm actually going to continue out along that highlight and just darken and just tap in some shadowing. Just a little bit. There we go. So now we have our waves crashing into our water. So now you can kind of see why I couldn't do this. Why I couldn't do this when it was wet. When the brown was wet, I did have to wait for it to dry up a little. And I'm just adding some turquoise highlights in and accents. I have this natural habit of using my fingers to blend my paints. So I always end up with paint everywhere by the time we're done, and that's okay. Everybody's got their habits, their signature ways of doing things. I tend to use my fingers to blend, and that's probably because I use a lot of, I like using a lot of like charcoal and stuff, which involves me using my fingers to blend out the colors that I'm using, which is nice. Always a lot of fun. There we go. I think I like that better. There we go. That just looks a little bit better to me. So we are going to go through and we're going to darken just along this line with some of the raw umber. So I'm going to use my really thin brush, if I can find it. So I just dropped it into my bucket of brushes over here. There she is. So we're just going to use my really thin brush here. And I'm going to take a little bit of, actually, with this. So I'm going to use a damp brush, because a dry brush will just absorb the paint. And I'm going to use some of the Payne's Gray, which is right here in the center. I'm going to take a little bit of this. Oh no. Apparently I did not spray the Payne's Gray, and that's okay. So I can still access a little bit of it underneath. Don't need a lot. I'm going to add a little bit of the raw umber, so it turns into this dark brown, which is what I want. A very dark brown. There we go. And we're just going to outline right along the edge here. This will give it that look of a wet surface versus the dry surface that it currently is resembling. And I have the option, I can line along the outer edge or the inner edge of the island. And that's all personal preference. Sometimes I'll do it on the outer because of an overblended area, or an area that looks like it's picked up too much excess, so it needs to basically be covered up a little bit. And other times I'll go on the inside because it won't look natural if it's on the outside. So it really just depends on my preference at the time. There we go. There we go. There we finished the painting. So it only took us a couple minutes, but these were just a couple of the touch-ups that we couldn't do with it still being a wet canvas. I'm actually going to, real quick, while I've still got a damp, semi-damp brush and semi-wet paint, I am going to do a little bit on the outer edge where the water's crashing upward. So I'm just mixing a little bit more of the raw umber. So I'm just over here mixing a little bit of the raw umber and the Payne's Gray together here, so that way I can get in here and just kind of add a little bit of darker accents to some of this. And because I've already got some of the blue down, I'm just tapping in, so it gives the appearance of being darkened from water without losing any of the paint that's already been put down. So again, I don't want to be overpowering, I just want to a little bit. There we go. And again, I'm just making those lines a little bit, the darker sides a little bit more obvious. Do the same with some Payne's Gray along the edge here, just because this doesn't look as obvious as it should along the edge here. There we go. There we go. That's much better. I think I'm happier with that. Like I said, I can easily keep playing with this for a good bit, but I'm going to leave it go because otherwise I will break it and I will ruin it, and I'm not going to do that. So I saved this entire palette of paint to go back and be able to alter this so we could have that completed today. So that's our official completed painting. I'll have it signed and put out on Twitter later this afternoon once it's all dried up and everything's set. So now comes the fun part. After the side, am I going to paint more, or are we going to do some charcoal? And I think we're going to do some charcoal today. As much as I love painting and I love getting the acrylics and everything out, I think we're going to take a little bit of a break away from some full color imagery, and we're going to shift into some black and whites. We're going to have some fun with that. So let me grab my supplies for that, which I happen to have right next to me here in a big old bag. Now I tend to like charcoal because it's got a lot of leniency, and I tend to like it. There it is. Because of its smearability. That's probably the best way to explain it. I don't generally use a charcoal pad. I actually just I have this big old guy, and this thing is actually huge. It's 11 by 14. Oh, actually, it's not my big one. My big one's bigger yet, but that's the one I got today. I didn't bring any small pieces of charcoal paper out with me, so we're just gonna use this guy. Now I don't store my charcoals in any fancy setup. These are Prismacolor pastel boxes that I acquired from a local art store. So I just keep my pastels and stuff in here. So this is my pastels, all kinds of Mod Podge together in chaos, and that lovely, disgusting brown coloring over them. There were inserts to these. The inserts were damaged, and then my pastels didn't fit, and now it's all over the place. So I don't have them in any special order. And then this is just the setup for the charcoals. And this is only in here because I need to prevent stuff from hitting all over it. My kneaded eraser, like I said, it's just chaos in this. So this is what we're gonna be using. This is white Conte crayon, black Conte crayon, vine charcoal, compressed charcoal, and then my kneaded erasers. I really go very simple. I don't do a whole lot. Some people have told me I should probably get like the something. I don't remember what it's called. Hold on. I will remember. Give me a second. Hold on. The chamois, chamois, whatever it is. And I think I have one somewhere. It's just not. I mean, I don't use it. I only ever took one art class, and they required me to bring it, and I only took half of the art class, so they never went into the details on why you should use that. Which I really feel it like if you're gonna take a fundamentals of drawing, that's something they should cover, is how to use the tools that you're being given, not just here, buy these tools and we'll explain it later. I feel like we should cover like how to use everything first, but that's just me. So I'm actually just massaging my kneaded eraser to kind of bring some life back into it. This thing is ancient. I've had it again since 2011, and she is holding steady and rocking it, so I just keep using it. I don't know what we're gonna sketch today or draw. See, and this is all it takes. I just have to open it, and there's stuff everywhere instantly. That powder just gets everywhere. I'll just clean that up. Just use the kneaded eraser to clean up the cover of my book real quick from the pastel powder that has managed to escape the box. I actually created sewed, there we go, a portfolio case to keep all this stuff in together. So I keep this in, and I keep my workable fixative. This is just the cheap Krylon workable fixative. I actually prefer the low odor workable fixative, but I'll use this in a pinch. And that's actually what I'm down to. I didn't realize I didn't have any of the low odor left. Otherwise I would have purchased that while I was placing my order from Dick Blick, so I know what's going in my next order. So let me open this bad boy here to a clean page, because I have all kinds of stuff in here. I forgot I played with my watercolor markers in here too. There we go. So we're just opened up to a clean page here. Let's take a look here. And it looks like there's a black dot on my camera right there. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I don't know if my husband can take a look and see if that black dot is visible to him. Oh, that means it's on my camera. Where did that come from? I don't know if that'll... Nope. We're trying to see if I can get rid of this black dot. I don't know that it's dust or not, but we're going to attempt something here. It looks like it's actually in the camera. Looks like dust actually in the camera itself, unfortunately. Well, dang it. Looks like I'll be reaching out to Logitech in regards to the dust-filled camera that they sent me. Alright, so we're gonna get to sketching here. Try to fix my camera because I've bumped it all over the place. There we go. So we're gonna get to sketching. I have no clue what we're gonna sketch. We're just gonna play around, have some fun. That's probably the plus side to charcoal, I think, is that I can really just kind of toy with it and create all kinds of fun stuff. And then I can always go back through if I want to afterwards and fill it in with like pastels and stuff too. So we're gonna have some fun. If you do have any suggestions about what you'd like to see me try and sketch, as long as it's not a person, feel free to type that in the comments. I will see what I can come up with. I'm gonna take a moment and enjoy some tea. I can't have any coffee, and tea's the only thing I like that's at room temperature, so I'm going to enjoy my lukewarm tea. Make sure I don't have charcoal on my hands before I try to wipe tea off my face. Alright. I think I want to do a tree. Kind of feeling a tree scene. Kind of toying with a couple things here. I'm kind of leaning towards like a tree, like right in the center, and then having like a sun and a moon on either side, but that's kind of difficult because it's all black and white, so you'd have to be able to differentiate, which means I'd have to do like a crimson moon or something, which I don't think it'll look good. Oh, by the way, if you have not looked, like, we're in the midst of, like, a super moon. It was either last night or it's tonight or something. It's supposed to be, like, super huge. Like, the largest moon of the year, which is fantastic. Just trying to think. Trying to think of what I feel like sketching. Um, I don't know. Let's just kind of start and see what happens. Worst case, I end up creating junk, and then I just kind of spend the day laughing about it. Um, so one of the things I like about charcoal is that it lends to easy blending, so I can make whatever shape I want on the paper. And it allows me to easily blend it out in that grayscale format, so I don't have to argue. And then I can always come by and just sharpen that edge. There we go. And you just clean up and sharpen that edge. And you end up with this nice natural shading, which I think is awesome. So it gives it actually almost looks like there's a curvature going on here. I feel like I'm almost making a teepee, so we're just gonna keep flowing with it. And bring it back down. And again, I'm just gonna take my fingers in here, and we're just gonna blend that out. This is, like I said, this is some of my favorite thing about charcoal, that I can have that leniency, that I can get in here and use like the excess of my fingers even to create lines, which is always, like, I think is always fun, because there's not much that you can do that with. It's almost like adult finger painting. I'm just gonna make some softer lines in here. And we're gonna blend. We're gonna put some trees over here. I'm just starting with some trunks. I'm actually gonna go through and we'll put a bush here. Some darker lines down underneath. Really shadowed. There we go. I'm gonna go through, and I will go through and follow it with the eraser, and we'll just clean it up a little bit here in a hot second. We'll put a couple more. And I'm actually going really lightly with the charcoal, only because I want to allow the natural movement of the paper to influence the placement of the charcoal. So we've got these branches back here, or these tree trunks, and then they're we'll say that they're just some evergreens because that's going to be pretty easy to start to draw in. I'm no like super, I'm no super artist about evergreens or any tree or anything like that personally, but I'm pretty good at roughing it, as it were. And again, I'm just going in and blending it out. Awesome part, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to look right for me, and I think that looks pretty right to me. I'm just going through and like I said, I'm cleaning up a little bit along the edges. Maybe the light shining through heavily. Look over here. This guy's, we'll say he's a really big tree. So he's gonna blend in behind this guy. He's gonna overtake this one. He's a really big tree. dotted, but I do want to give the implication that it is a rock face. So we're just going to use a couple of dashes, and I'm going to try and blend it off into this tree. Highlight or shadow in that river edge again. Now I am going to come in with the kneaded eraser real quick, so let me set this guy down. I'm going to create a little point out of it, and with that point I'm going to come in and add some lighting or highlights into the water. It allows me to just kind of pick up some of the excess off of the water and add some highlights without having to, like, I could get the Conce crayon out and do the white with that, but that's not going to come back out, or it's going to be really hard to get back out. So this gives a lot of leniency. So I just bring it down to kind of a point here and just kind of drag it through. And I'm not picking up any of the harsh lines that I put down. I'm picking up any of the smearing that I've done. So it kind of lightens that and continues to give the appearance of flow across the image. And water always lands into something, so we'll put like a little lake here. It's so off in the distance. We'll actually make it so that it looks like that water comes running right up past us. We'll put a rock in the center here. Now I'm just kind of creating motion or movement lines so I can kind of see where I'm going to put everything. So actually, hold on. You can't really see what I'm doing over here in the corner. So I just kind of created this little rock here. I'm just using my fingers to blend everything. And again, I'll come back through and adjust afterwards. This is going to help give the appearance of motion, which is what's always important, especially in something like this. I'm just putting down some little, I don't know, riverbank fronds or whatever you want to call them. I'm shadowing in to give the, like, I want it to kind of look like there's maybe grass or something over here without having to go through and put 8 billion dots down. So we're just giving the kind of the appearance of grass without having to actually put grass in. I'm going to create like a little cliff edge right about where the water ends. And again, it's disappearing off behind the tree, not a big deal. There we go. So I am going to go through and add some lighting to the water motion and movement, just a little bit. So we're just kind of massaging this into the right position to be able to get in there. I have broken it up multiple times and then put it back together. This is just easier to keep it as one big piece right now. But I could if I wanted to rip a piece off and use that. And so I'm just adding highlights, continuing the idea that there's motion. And I'll probably come through with my Conte here in a little bit and really get some good highlights going. And I don't like these guys, so we're going to get the majority of them. So this is the white Conte crayon. So Conte crayon versus compressed charcoal. Compressed charcoal is what I've been using. I can smear it, I can smudge it, I can move it. Conte crayon I cannot. So once it's on, it's on. And I'm just going in very lightly. To give some stark white highlights in with the water. Again, I'm just kind of trying to pull that appearance or thought of motion over the water. There we go. I am going to get my compressed charcoal back out here and really hit the edge of this rock. There we go. Just to really make it look more like a rock, less like a globule. I don't know. It still looks pretty globule, but maybe it looks a little bit more like a rock. I don't know. I'm quickly realizing I'm probably better at acrylics than I am at charcoal, but charcoal is definitely my favorite to play with. So I do have a lot more fun with it. So we're gonna go through. I'm gonna put like a little fire here in the center. Nothing major, nothing big. So the idea is I want to have like 2 logs sticking out. So we'll do one end there, and the other end way over here. They're coming together to where the fire would roughly be. I mean, kind of intentionally blending them out. It'll make it natural shadowing. Again, I'm trying to use just like the corner of this little guy here to get in here and hit just along that edge, just a little bit. And the underside of this on the edges here. And again, I'm just using my finger because for me it's more natural to smear with my hand than it is to try and get in there. Like I could use a blender if I wanted to. I don't usually do. I usually just use my hand. There we go. So we're gonna create a fire. I'm not too good at it, so we're gonna see what this little fire looks like. Oh, there we go. Let me see what I can make this little fire look like here. Trying to smear in the same direction that I'm got the flames rolling, so it'll maintain the resemblance of a fire. There we go. Yeah, we got a little fire in there. We'll put one more log in here. I'm just taking the excess off of my fingers to look like it's casting shadow on the inside here. Nothing too in depth, just excess. There we go. Nothing fancy, nothing like jaw-dropping, probably because I'm starting to feel exhausted, and I think I'm ready for a nap. So this is probably where we're gonna end it. I promised my husband I wasn't gonna do a really long stream today. We'll keep it down to an hour. I just wanted to get the chance to come out, do the to finish that acrylic painting. I didn't want to do it off stream because I told you guys I would do it on stream. We'd finish those waves, and I am true to my word as best as I can be. Tomorrow I am planning to stream if my health is well and I'm feeling up for it. I think will be okay for me to go ahead and do some more streaming tomorrow. I'm really starting to feel like today's Passover, so I'm really starting to feel like that whole Easter vibe roll in, and I don't mean like Easter bunny and colored eggs. So we might do something along those lines, or I don't know. We'll see what spurs the artist in me tomorrow. As always, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for being a part of this. Keep creating fun things, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.